Good morning and welcome to the Camnet Breakfast Show Monday edition. Today, I'm not alone. I've been alone and I've been with Cozy trying to fill in for the positive lady herself. But today she's back and we have to say hi to her. I'm your usual host, Patrick Soko, and I'm not alone. I'm with Miriam Kaimba. Good morning.
Good morning, Soko. It's a positive Monday, the 6th of November 2023. I hope you are tapping into the positivity to ensure that you get yourself ready and running for the day.
As usual, we
Yeah.
always keep it positive.
I hope you did remain positive whilst I was away.
No, we did remain positive and optimistic, and well, it went well, and here we are.
Yeah, exactly. How has been your weekend?
The weekend was okay. I was working, though
Okay.
my team Real Madrid drew, so I was ending the day on a sad note. But we are back on a Monday. We have to be
You
positive.
have to be positive. I love that. I love that. Despite your game,
Yes.
your team not doing so well, but you
Yes.
still remain positive. I
Yes.
love that. And when there's still time for improvement, I'm sure the next time you play, you
Yeah,
guys
there
will
is, there is,
Yeah.
there is. But anyway, we'll keep hoping for the best. And to just get started, let's get straight into the health corner with the doctors, and we'll be back. Keep it on Camnet TV. We have a fully packed program just for you.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakobe Namfaya. So this week we are talking about yet another interesting topic. It's a condition that is very common amongst us, and we see it a lot in our communities, in the hospitals, and we're going to be talking about tuberculosis. It's an infectious disease and it's very easily transmitted from person to person. So we want to be able to understand exactly how does it come about and how is it that people can get this infection, and also we want to know what are some of the signs and symptoms of this infection, and how is it diagnosed and treated in the hospital, and also what can you do to prevent yourself from getting this disease called tuberculosis. So tuberculosis is a condition that mostly affects the lungs, and it's a condition that comes about from being infected by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So this bacteria can be transmitted from person to person, and usually people get it through that kind of transmission. So if you are exposed to somebody who has this condition and they secrete these aerosols that contain this bacteria in the air, and then you inhale that air and you end up getting the infection as well. So once you have this infection, it usually settles in your lungs and it will affect your lungs. So the primary place where you can get this or where you have this infection is in the lungs. Most people who have tuberculosis have pulmonary TB or pulmonary tuberculosis, which means pulmonary means the lungs. So they have TB in the lungs, and so the infection usually attacks the lungs and it forms some cavities in the lungs, causes some lesions in the lungs, and in some cases you can find that other people would get the infection elsewhere. So from the lungs, it's possible that the TB can travel to other places of the body as well. So it can go to any part of the body basically, so to the brain, to the stomach or the GI, that is the spleen, the liver. It can affect even the kidneys. It can affect any part of your body. It can affect your lymph nodes. It can affect your skin and cause some lesions on your skin. It can even affect your eyes as well. So this condition does not only affect the lungs, can affect any other part of the body. The other common part that usually is affected by this condition is the spine, or the vertebral column. So people would have what we call Pott's disease, which is TB of the spine. So they would have this condition in the spine as well. So depending on whether it's a newly diagnosed condition or you are having it again, you can be treated differently based on how or based on whether it's the first time you are getting this infection, or it's a new infection, or it's an infection that is reoccurring for the second time or the third time. And also based on where it is, whether it's in the brain, whether it's in the back or the spine, whether it's in the kidneys or elsewhere in the skin, there are also different ways of treating it, and also different time periods of getting treatment for this condition. And also these days now we are also having multi-drug resistant TB, where people who have had this condition before and they were given treatment and they did not adhere to their treatment, or they did not take the treatment completely, they did not complete the course of the treatment, they might end up being reinfected and have what we call multi-drug resistant TB, where they have this kind of TB that is resistant to so many drugs, the drugs that we usually prescribe for tuberculosis. So if you have multi-drug resistant TB, it means that we will have to use other types of drugs to treat the condition that you have. So basically what we are talking about today is that tuberculosis is an infection that comes about by being infected by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which comes about because you have been exposed to somebody who has this infection. And so when the aerosols are released in the air and you inhale those aerosols that have got this bacteria, you can become infected as well. And the primary places where you can find this infection is in the lungs, but also it can go to any other part of your body. It can affect your kidneys, your liver, your stomach, your lymph nodes, your skin, your brain, and even your spine as well. So tomorrow we'll be talking about some of the risk factors. What are some of the risk factors? Are there people who are at risk of having this infection, and who are those people? So we want to understand what are some of the risk factors of TB. So make sure you watch again tomorrow. And if you would love to know more about so many other topics that we talk about here on the Health Corner on the Breakfast Show, you can also look at my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakobiana Mfaya on YouTube, and you'll be able to learn more about all these conditions. So make sure you watch again tomorrow. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care of yourself, and God bless.
Thank you for staying with us on the Camnet Breakfast Show. That was our first segment, the Health Corner, and we continue to always advise you, our dear viewers, that you should always recommend some of the topics you want to be tackled on the Camnet Breakfast Show. It is important that we also take in your perspective pertaining to some of the issues you'd want the doctor to share with you. Now, moving on the program, we get to our next segment where we get to know how the kwacha is faring this morning. So now, $1 is buying at 22 kwacha 06 ngwe and selling at 22 kwacha 50 ngwe. The Greater British Pound is buying at 27 kwacha 21 ngwe and selling at 27 kwacha 25 ngwe. The Euro is buying at 23 kwacha 64 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 10 ngwe. The South African Rand is buying at 1 kwacha 21 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 23 ngwe. So those are money market updated this morning, the 6th of November 2023 at 0729, and they do vary from one period to change the other. financial institution to another. But however, they do not differ much, it's just some sense. But you can see that we are all 22. Like, it's no longer a teenager.
It's no longer a teenager. It's a grown-up kwacha. It's an adult. It's an adult indeed. Just a reminder to our viewers that we have now officially opened our phone lines. You, our viewers, can get in touch with us and participate in some of the stories that we are going to be looking at this morning, as well as those who are watching us live on Facebook. Please do drop us those comments. Keep those comments coming so that, you know, we get engaged and interacted. Just moving on, Patrick Soko, we did see that last week, the whole entire last week, I think almost for 2 weeks now, we have, you know, been embraced with stories pertaining to the opposition Patriotic Front. And yesterday we also did see, you know, human rights and political activist Bebna Changala, who has accused the United Party for National Development of polarizing state institutions to fulfill their desire to fuel confusion in the former ruling Patriotic Front. Anyway, let's get to look at that story. We'll continue with our discussion when we come back.
The confusion in the former ruling Patriotic Front has seen accusations directed at ruling United Party for National Development UPND government. Governors, actors and politicians say the divisions in the Patriotic Front are fueled by the state, of which the state has refuted several times.
Colleagues handle the differences themselves. That is what we are looking to, because we want a strong democracy. We like strong opposition. So it is not in our interest to destroy PF. Let them work together. That is my advice to them. Blaming UPND or government will not do. The issue is among themselves. Let them resolve.
Human rights and political activist Bebna Changala says the state has captured state institutions to fulfill the desire of destabilizing the former ruling and biggest opposition political party in the country.
The PF wrangles, as you might be aware, are instigated by the state. The wrangles in the Patriotic Front is a state project. You can even see how it started. Mao Sampa holding a convention on a holiday, on an Independence Day, when everybody was celebrating. They have captured every institution of good governance. They have destroyed everything that can save this country. Or we can say, help us God. I personally, I never knew that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the man I know, will act and behave in this manner. That Mr. Hakainde will be a smooth talker and talk us into a trap, because we are now in a trap. We don't even know how to come out of it.
Mr. Changala has since advised PF President Mao Sampa to reflect on his actions and come to the realization that he is just being used.
To Mao Sampa, I appeal to him. He's going to be used in the destruction of this country. And after he's being used, he will be destroyed by the same abusers. He must take time and reflect. He must kneel down and pray. Is it worth it? You don't need to be a rocket scientist that the UPND is on a warpath against the people of Zambia.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Registrar of Societies has amended Patriotic Front PF new office bearers to run the party henceforth. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Quite interesting story there. Is there hope for redemption for the opposition Patriotic Front?
Well, hope is there,
Okay.
and hope may not be there.
It's a two-way thing.
It can go either ways.
It's a two-way
If
thing.
you ask me.
It's a two-way thing. Why do you say so?
Why I'm saying so? You're asking difficult questions. Why? Where are you coming from?
No, because you said it's a two-way thing. So me and the viewers want to know, why do you say so?
Yes, there's a hope that the court process may go in their favor, and they may reclaim the party and be able to move forward. then there is
or the court might rule that the convention that was held on
by
the
Mao
24th
Sampa
was illegal.
then that the former president Edgar Lungu is a substantive president for the PF. Yes, so that will be what we say. That's redemption now. Now, if we say there's no redemption, it will be that this case may degenerate further to a level where we saw other political parties disintegrate, where they may be able to reclaim it later, but it may be too late. I hope you understand what I mean.
Yeah, like we saw in the MMD.
Yes, so this is not a small matter. It's quite delicate in that if you see the way Mao Sampa has played the entire game, the script is unfolding according to his plan, and he has managed to for now to have an upper hand over the other camp. And again, why I'm saying over the other camp, there are some members of parliament that are from the PF that are not recognizing him as the party president, but also there are those from the PF, the same organization, who are recognizing him as a party president. There are some about five members of parliament that I see likely to associate with him, for example, for now. Among some of the obvious and the people who have been abstaining, for example, from endorsing whatever the other camp led by Edgar Lungu is doing, I would point, for example, we had the new chief whip and his deputy, Mr. Robert Chavinga, is with Mao Sampa. We have also Mr. Anthony Mwamba, something like that. He's also been linked to Mr. Sampa. We also have others are not decided, like for example Sante Chanda. So it's likely to be with Mao's. So as this stands, he is also gaining some members of parliament. So already there's a real spirit, Miriam, if you ask me.
But you know, again, the other question is what a lot of people would want to know: where did the party go wrong for them to reach at this stage? One of the things that have been attributed is the delay for them to hold the convention, because we have heard, you know, stories in the background, people saying that they wanted, you know, to announce the coming back of the former head of state, but we were told most of the times on various occasions that the former head of state had resigned from active politics. Yeah.
Yes, then he opted to come back.
Opted to come back, and this is now bringing up questions of people who are now, you know, questioning why he was withdrawing, you know, benefits from government. If he, on the other hand, is claiming that he has never resigned as PF president.
So I think really the political calculation was not done well. The political strategy was not well crafted, because, you know, it created a lot of anxiety, and even you can even understand Mao Sampa, where you say the date for the convention, someone has already paid, they are geared, they want to mobilize members, and you say no, we are postponing.
But don't you think that the current, you know, wrangles that are happening in the opposition patriotic front, don't you think it gives room to the Socialist Party now to come to emerge as one of the biggest opposition political party that we are likely to have in the country? Do you think that it gives them space and room, you know, to work out that?
Remind me, the Socialist Party was on which position during the previous election?
I think the third.
So they've been gaining ground. I understand the strategy is that they focus in the rural areas as the party. So they have been gaining ground.
Anyway, let's speak to Hello, good morning.
Mr. Msonda.
Good morning. How is the panel there?
We are fine, Mr. Msonda. How are you?
We are good.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, I'll start with the issue of the timing of the president. Former President Edgar Lungu. I want just to give you an example. There was a time when Kawisha retired from active football. So when he saw that the national team was not doing well, he came back and he scored a goal. You remember that history, Mr. Song?
Very well, sir.
So Edgar Lungu, he has been a president of the party, left by the next president, Michael Sata, may he so rest in peace. These wrangles, we have gone through these wrangles, and this is not the first time. The redemption of this party will be there. We are coming and we are very strong. So let's me, I can't even talk about him because that person, we have known how he has come through his political career. He has been there, and that's why he has even thought to handle his privacy in terms of visa. We don't want to go into such details. So, what is important is Zambians are able to see. You have just played the clip where Barnaba Changara, political activist, is saying this is a sponsored project. People are able to see. How can you have the general conference during Independence Day? It's a shame. And coming to the issue, there is another topic which is not on your subject there. The impeachment of Raymond.
Yes.
Speaker. Of course, Bino Mpundu is the member of parliament for Ghana. He's running with that. The issue is very clear. Mao Sampa writes to the speaker to say we need to change the leader of opposition in parliament, where Brian Mundwe is no longer. And then the same speaker, she's saying we can't, you as political member, opposition political parties, you can't talk about or comment about the issue of Mao Sampa when it is in court. But how come she has allowed to change the sitting arrangement? The same person doing double standards. Judge Banda wants to talk, you are not a man. So what kind of speaker do we have in parliament? So we have a crisis, Mr. Soko, and we are hoping that as the political activist Barnaba Changara has said, God has to help us because we are really in a trap. So as PF, we are strong and we will continue being strong. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Musonda, there for your contribution and giving us your perspective on the matter. Quite a number of issues, Miriam Kayamba, the PF, the ECL come back. Musonda also did give us an analysis, but he had given an honest opinion before the ECL detained to politics. He said he would have loved that the ban remains in the background. But now, today is giving us an example of Karusha. Say when things are tense, sometimes you have to get into the ring.
But were things tense in the PF? Or it's an issue of because they delayed to have a convention, they delayed to select a leader amongst themselves. I think maybe others are saying it might be an issue of trust. Who can lead the party? Yes,
so yeah, that's another issue because what we don't do is that those in leadership always learn to groom your successors, make sure that they are able to execute the work in your absence. If you leave the chance for vacuum, then that vacuum will create a lot of problems. So we've seen people whereby who hand over leadership before dying, saying, okay, you take over now. They don't even know whether this person is capable, and they run down the institution. So those are the things. Another story. We look at a story where a historian at the University of Zambia, Professor Bizek Piri, has advised the government to facilitate a fair political playground for political players in the country. But before that, let's pick the score. Hello?
Hello, is that Camnet?
Yes, you are through to Camnet TV. Good morning.
Where did you say TV? Sir, I just want to contribute on what the PF matter is.
Please go.
My name is Usuruka Griffith Miller.
Okay, from where, sir?
I'm calling from Kitwe.
You can go ahead with your contribution.
Sir, the issue with the PF, you know where it started from. And the problem is just within the party itself. And they cannot blame anyone. All they have to do is just to resolve their issue. UPNP has got nothing to do with this party or any confusion that is going on. Remember how Tikalungu came into power. Remember what happened in Kumurungushkuya. There was a lot of confusion. Many people were injured. Now, what do they expect from Mao Sampa? Let them come together and resolve this issue. And let them stop calling the UPNP that they are the one who are inserting this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your comments. We value your contribution on the Camnet Breakfast Show. So now what we are going to do, Miriam Kayemba, is that we're going to look at the story where Professor Bizek Piri is calling for a conducive political environment, and we will record the story by Mr. Brebna Changala so that those of our viewers who are just joining us can be privy to what we are looking at. We are asking an important question where is there redemption for the opposition Patriotic Front? And another question that we are asking is that what is your take pertaining to the proposed impeachment of the Speaker of the National Assembly, Madam Nedi Muti? Calls have been coming in that direction also pertaining to that subject. So you can give us your perspective this morning. We want to hear from you, especially you. Let's have a look at this story.
Cries over the shrinking democratic space in the country has been a debate over the past months. Politicians, civil society organizations, among others, have accused the government of restricting the opposition from engaging their supporters.
A day after Independence Day, the Zambian Police Service forced its way into the home of Patriots for Economic Progress, PEP President Sean Tembo.
But historian at the University of Zambia, Professor Bizek Piri, has advised opposition political players to make use of technology to sell themselves and not entirely depend on physical rallies.
People have cell phones. And if you can send messages, sell yourselves, not messages of insulting the people in power. Pointing out what are the challenges. You are using the social media in the normal way, you are communicating. These are the challenges that are there. These are the problems that we are facing. Can we come together? And so that even when you are using social media, because even the security people are also monitoring what you are sharing. They will not come and arrest you because you are sharing information which is not abusive, which is not insulting, but you are simply informing people that these are things that happen. And if you know we are also part of the players, this is what we want to do. You will be mobilizing people that way.
Professor Piri has, on the other hand, advised the government to facilitate a fair political playground for all opposition political players.
I went to the government and the authorities and to the security is that if it becomes persistent, if it becomes persistent that when an opposition political party wants to have a rally, they are told, no, you can't. Then people begin to question, is it really they are trying to protect people or they don't want us to talk to the people? So there's need to see that unless there's evidence, there's enough evidence that this political rally is going to create chaos, then the police will say, no, I think we cannot give you permission, or we cannot allow you because we will not be able to contain what is likely to happen. But political parties need to be given that opportunity to speak to the people, to campaign for themselves, sell themselves.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka. The confusion in the former ruling Patriotic Front has seen accusations directed at ruling United Party for National Development UPND government. Governors, actors and politicians say the divisions in the Patriotic Front are fueled by the state, of which the state has refuted several times.
Colleagues handle the differences themselves. That is what we are looking to, because we want a strong democracy. We like strong opposition. So it is not in our interest to destroy PF. Let them work together. That is my advice to them. Blaming UPND or government will not do. The issue is among themselves. Let them resolve.
Human rights and political activist Brebna Changala says the state has captured state institutions to fulfill the desire of destabilizing the former ruling and biggest opposition political party in the country.
The PF wrangles, as you might be aware, are instigated by the state. The wrangles in the Patriotic Front is a state project. You can even see how it started. Mao's Sampa holding a convention on a holiday, on an Independence Day, when everybody was celebrating. They have captured every institution of good governance. They have destroyed everything that can save this country. Or we can say, help us God. I personally, I never knew that Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the man I know, will act and behave in this manner. That Mr. Hakainde will be a smooth talker and talk us into a trap, because we are now in a trap. We don't even know how to come out of it.
Mr. Changala has since advised PF President Mao Sampa to reflect on his actions and come to the realization that he is just being used.
To Mao Sampa, I appeal to him. He's going to be used in the destruction of this country. And after he's been used, he will be destroyed by the same abusers. He must take time and reflect. He must kneel down and pray. Is it worth it? You don't need to be a rocket scientist that the UPND is on a warpath against the people of Zambia.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Registrar of Societies has amended Patriotic Front PF new office bearers to run the party henceforth. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The Zambian parliament has continued to be at the center of attention as the tension in the former ruling party, the Patriotic Front, continues. The former whips, Brian Mundwile and Stephen Kampyongo, defied the changes in the sitting arrangements as they refused to recognize Mao Sampa as the party president, as well as the appointment of new whips. During the vice president's question time, leader of the opposition in parliament, Robert Chabinga, asked the vice president to state if the government is behind the confusion in the former ruling party.
Kindly, there are assertions in the country and some section and quarters of civil society that your government and the UPND are fueling or funding the confusion that has erupted in our party.
But in a response, Vice President Mutarina Lumango claimed that the PF's predicament is self-inflicted and that it is not unusual, saying the PF has always been associated with internal wrangles.
This is the issue. Why should a united family start accusing another family to bring confusion? Colleagues, this is very important. What I'm saying is important. The PF must take care of their own household. Instead of pushing it to the UPND and government. This is the truth. Get strong and be united. This is... Let me... My son, no. Order. Please listen to me.
And Mr. Kampyongo could not take the lecture by the vice president, and as per resolution, some members of parliament walked out of the house.
Order. Please, can we have order?
I am speaking what I know.
Order. Honorable Kampyongo, please, can you take your seat? Honorable member for Shiwangandu, take your seat, otherwise I'm going to name you. First of all, you are even not in your designated place, and you are standing. That is disorderly conduct. Can you have order? Yes. Huh?
The Vice President also echoed Home Affairs Minister Jack Mwimbu's statement that the UPND administration is not fueling any confusion in the PF.
Colleagues, handle the differences themselves. That is what we are looking to, because we want a strong democracy. We like strong opposition. So it is not in our interest to destroy PF. Let them work together. That is my advice to them. Blaming UPND or government will not do. The issue is among themselves. Let them resolve.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
as seen by the vice president there in parliament, saying, you know, let the PF get strong and united, stating rather that, you know, the ruling party has no interest of destroying the party. Quite interesting views there from the vice president in parliament, Patrick Soko, because we have seen allegations coming through, like we heard statement from Mr. Brebna Changara, who says, you know, the ruling party is polarizing, you know, state institution to, you know, cause confusion in this in the former ruling party. And we did see, you know, the vice president stating that, you know, the party has no interest to cause confusion because they want an opposition political party that is going to offer checks and balance to them.
Indeed, yeah. Miriam. So our dear viewers, we'll be getting your contribution from you on the program. But now we're going to recall a story we had on Saturday, where we had a lot of PF presidential aspirants speaking out on the issue pertaining to Mao Sampa. And the man who's going to help us discuss these issues pertaining to the PF also and other current affairs is quite experienced in terms of this subject. Miriam Kaemba is a man who has been there before and wants to understand, first of all, to help us. He should help us understand this question: is there redemption for the PF? And just to share the political tactics that are at play at the moment. So now we are going to look at this story where GBM, we had Chishimba Kambwili, and others talking about the issues happening in the PF. That was on Saturday, Miriam Kaemba. So let's have a look at this story, and we'll be back on the other side, and our guest will be responding to some of the questions, and you too, our dear viewers, you can equally share with us your perspective on the matter.
Many question who the legitimate leader is between Mao Sampa and former President Edgar Lungu. On Friday, 4th November 2023, the Mao Sampa-led team locked the PF Secretariat on grounds of securing the facility from alleged hijackers of the party, but Saturday morning, the case was different, as the Secretariat was the hive of activities when 6 aspiring presidential candidates addressed some members of the party. One of the candidates, Emmanuel Mwamba, alleged that the ruling party is planning on taking over the party, despite Vice President Mutalena Lumango refuting this claim on the floor of the National Assembly. Mr. Mwamba since directed all PF members to write for a nationwide demonstration on the matter.
Our district, ama application mutwale police, mwambe ama demonstration. Ukusunga chipani, na kusunga democracy yes.
Time has come for you to show that your rights cannot be infringed upon by any individual.
Others have maintained that the 24th October 2023 convention held by one Mao Sampa is illegal and not backed by the party constitution.
Nobody can go back in the Chilema. Alolele telela fe Mao Sampa. Mao Sampa tapadi yoko wakamusumina yo. Ukwamba mu parliament na bamukana. Ukwamba ku constituency na bamukana. CF onzo wachine na mukana Mao Sampa. Icho tulela ndo kutila ati mwewe na Zambia stand up and be counted. Kane ni Mao Sampa. Atweba abantu besuta tulefaye ntuluvundi. But elastic ingawa don sapari wapo ipelela natu don sana ifika palasti ndatu achilapa yala kutuka.
Mporokoso and Lunte, Member of Parliament, have pledged to work for the people and not to be silenced.
Mwembali 156 mwe mkutulandilako wa speaker kafuaya ngai matikala panchi muteko mamutumine kulia mutumine tuaneli balega mundibina ta morning you muteko mamutumine kulia wewe kala chalo ifwe tatubombela mwenso
amaka yaba kuli imwe umuntu tafwira kumika la pansansa shenu amaka yalia eyo mutupela ine kulia ku parliament ishakwata boss yes nangumbo Lady Muti is not my boss. Mundubile is not my boss.
Meanwhile, police spokesperson Ray Hamonga has warned Mr. Mwamba for his remarks.
This warning serves as an opportunity for Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba to make an informed decision regarding his course of action. Ignoring this warning and continuing to engage in activities that may threaten public safety may lead to legal action being taken by law enforcement. We hope this will act responsibly. We hope he will act responsibly and consider the potential consequences of his actions.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
We now transition into our first interview this morning, where we are joined by Mr. Mwenya Musenge, who is the President for Advocate for People's Prosperity. Quite interesting, to have you on set this morning.
Thank you so much.
How is the party doing?
Well, the party is progressing well, and we are participating in one of the by-elections in Kabuta.
Okay.
In Luapula province. Hopefully we'll gauge our performance after that.
Interesting.
Yeah, to just get started, Mr. Musenge, first of all, we are asking our viewers the question to say, is there a hope for redemption for the PF given the internal wrangles that have been engulfed, and your general perspective on this subject?
It is quite unfortunate that we have such wrangles happening in some of these political parties, and it is not the first time. If you recall very well, during my NDC days when I was Secretary General of NDC, we had the same problem. The PF were in government, and they were the architect of the confusion that we ended up having in our party. When, as SD of the party, I felt at that particular time that when Kambwili created that confusion, after we decided to terminate his consultants with the party, PF came to us to offer a shoulder on which we could lean on, and they helped us with legal representation. But at the end of the day, we came and realized very late that they did not mean well. Their intention was to destroy NDC. And this is exactly what is happening today. This is exactly what is happening now. They are now testing their own medicine. But it is extremely unfortunate. Such things do not need to happen. We, as Zambian people, in 1991, did resolve that we go into multipartism. And therefore, whoever is in government is supposed to work extremely hard to protect multipartism in this country. Protect political parties that are in opposition when you are in government. And when you look at the issue of PF, there's a lot of dirty that is going around. Even a small child can see that there's a lot of interference that is coming from the party which is in government. Even when they continue denying, it is very clear that they are actually at it. When you look at the number of factors, you really agree that no, I think the government is involved. And I think the government should quickly distance themselves from this and help in harmonizing opposition political parties in this country, so that we could play the important role of checks and balances to the party in government. But coming to your question, I want to tell you that I don't see PF coming back again. The confusion that has been created, the rift that has been created amongst themselves, now you have factions within themselves. It will be very difficult to mend that crack, extremely difficult. And I do remember that some time back I issued a statement that I think the PF were actually digging their own grave, and the former chairman of PF, Mr. Davis Chama, did come out and castigated me and advised me to focus on my Kalitu party and stop talking about PF. But today, where is he? Where is he? He has actually been sidelined, or rather suspended, for speaking the truth by standing out firm. And I believe that his position is the correct position. The biggest problem that PF has had is the former president, Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, after losing the elections, and indeed having written that he had resigned from the politics, he should have helped the transition to identify a leader within PF, and that has not been done. He deliberately stayed away and pretended he had resigned when he was still interested to continue leading the party. It is like in a situation where a man divorces a woman, but meanwhile, he keeps on checking whatever that woman is doing every day. Any relationship, he's on it, trying to stop it. Okay? That particular person has not divorced that woman. He still has interest. In this regard, the president from the onset did not wholeheartedly distance himself from the politics of this country. He did not resign at all. As it has turned out now that he is taking over as president, he's actually taking his position as president of the Patriotic Front. And that will not help anyone. For me, my personal opinion, I know I'm not PF, but it is my personal opinion, and that opinion is very important because it affects the nation. It affects all of us. You know, you serve as president of the highest office, and that is the last office in the land. For 7 years, you start wanting to come back. What have you remembered? Or what have you remembered to have forgotten to do while you were president, which you want to go back and do? Why don't you help somebody to take over and guide that particular person? The essence of governance, the essence of leadership, the essence of involving ourselves in politics, it is to try and contribute in one way or another of how we can improve the welfare of ourselves as Zambians, how we can improve the economy of this country. And if you have played your role, allow others to come in also and try their part.
Just what you thought, Mr. Mseng. Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning.
You are through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we talking to this morning?
This is the voice of the Papoli from Kawe.
It's good to know that Kawe is watching us this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, good morning, President.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I love you, man. You can Yes, the propaganda for, yeah, number 1, 2, they are saying that the UPN in our Mohan. But we cannot put all the blame on them. In on my observation and my opinion, I see that the UPL is the root cause of all the wrangling here. To me, I would think the good man is a selfish man. Because this is what we get. Honestly, we resigned while we helped the party into the transition to have a then we were going to general conference and we get their own lead. So they have been there party. So if it is true that the UPND is their hand in that angle, it means that they have taken advantage because of the vacuum. If there was no vacuum, I don't think they can have power to point to there because if they have, they are doing that. They have taken advantage of the vacuum. It has been created by ECL and their general secretary. So to put the blame always driving power to the UPND for me is not fair and it's not that.
Thank you for your contribution. You two can go give us your perspective on the breakfast show. And in studio, we have Mr. Msenge who's helping us to discuss this issue pertaining to the PF and many other issues affecting national governance. Now, Mr. Msenge, now moving on. First of all, I think, why don't we learn from history? You mentioned an important aspect because the NDC was a major potential political party that was going to be the big thing for this country.
Yeah.
You and Mr. Chimbakambwiri managed to galvanize support, and Zambians were beginning to believe in your ideology. But midway, we had the confusion like the one the PF is experiencing. And as we talk, Mr. Msenge, the NDC still has two factions.
Yeah.
And why don't we learn from the past? And what experience would you share to those who are facing the same challenge today?
You know, it is quite unfortunate that such things should be happening. One, it is failure by us, especially those who are in government, to appreciate multipartyism in the country, to appreciate an alternative voice, especially when it comes to checks and balances. And for me, what I'm seeing is that we have allowed our country, you know, to turn into a state of comedians. We are more focused on trivial issues when we are supposed to be looking at serious issues that are affecting our nation. We had anticipated that with the coming in of the New Dawn government, the UPND, we expected our country to be taken to another level. And we had seen that from the onset. And I'm one of those that really commended the UPND, especially when they sorted out the cadarism on the streets. That was a major breakthrough. And we felt now that we were now going to move forward to try and see how we can improve the welfare of our people in our country. But unfortunately, they've fallen into the shoes of the PF, and we have started seeing those things that the Zambian people condemned to start mushrooming up. And for example, this same issue that we are talking about, it is so sad that the biggest opposition party can be going into such, and you are able to see that the government is involved. It's not a question. It cannot be questioned. There's been times when the opposition have applied for permits, and permits have been denied because the police do not have enough security, manpower to probably support such functions. But somebody is able to galvanize a function within 24 hours. We don't know when he applied for that permit, or maybe it never deserved a permit. We don't know. And he's given a 5-star treatment, and you have so many security personnel. Who does that? Because the police are controlled by the party in government. So even the president himself was aware, and is aware of what is happening. And I can't shy away from saying he's an interested party in the confusion that is happening in the PF. But you see, if you allowed such thing to happen, know very well that as a country we shall never grow. Whichever party will come into government again, they'll start doing the same thing. Why can't UPND for once focus on the development of the country? For once chart a different way of governance, so that this triviality that has engulfed the political scene in this country could be cleared once and for all. We want political parties that are going to focus on issue-based politics, where we are talking of how we can be able to improve the poverty level, to try and clear the poverty levels in our country. Let us talk about those issues. And the party in government should open an eye, open their ears and listen to what us who are in the opposition are able to advise.
With such cases reoccurring every time, we did see from the MMD, NDC, now the PF, what do we make of the future of the opposition political parties in the country, given the fact that, like you have mentioned quite well, we need opposition political parties to offer checks and balance in the country. But if we're going to have such situation reoccurring, what is the future of the opposition in Zambia?
Well, the fact is that you cannot delink the opposition from the governance of this country. Although when you look at what is happening, the party in government is working extremely hard to destroy the opposition. I don't think there'll be a time that the country will go back to the one-party type of governance. But again, those who are in politics, for us in the advocates for people's prosperity, our approach to the politics that we want to play are completely different. Politics of character assassination, politics of stabbing one another in the backs, politics of speculations should be politics of the past. We need to be talking about very, very real issues. You know, even when you comment of a matter, can it be a matter that you have facts about? And this is what has been creating problems in our country, where you find this one they create a team purely for propaganda. There's another team in this other political party purely for propaganda. And when they bring out these issues, you can faint. That is wrong. That is wrong. And that's why for us, we don't mind how long it may take us to establish ourselves as one of the strongest opposition parties. But we want to try and help to develop politics of integrity, politics of high morality amongst ourselves. Leaders should know that when they come into these things, it is to serve the masses, to serve the people, and not self. This selfishness is what is killing our colleagues in PF as well. There's so much greediness. One, it starts with Edgar Lungu himself is showing greediness for power. Then even amongst those people surrounding him, they're not even being sincere. Because majority of them also wanted to become president. And from nowhere, they turn their position 360 degrees and they start supporting one particular individual. No, you don't play games like that. My advice to Edgar Chagwa Lungu is for him to really take a serious introspection, and help in, if it is possible, to identify a leader that can lead PF. That transition was not there when he resigned as president. I think he has done enough, and he can do better as an elder statesman, former president of this republic. There are other functions that he can play in Zambia and outside Zambia. But getting back into politics, I wouldn't want to see by Edgar Chagwa Lungu whatever to cancel it.
Mr. Msenge, before we shift from this topic, do you think the confusion being found in the opposition Patriotic Front, do you think it was a well-calculated move to shift the attention of people from talking about other issues, among them the issue of anger in the country and other developmental factors?
No, I don't think so, because that was their internal problem. That was their internal problem. The issues to do with anger in the country still remains as a serious issue in the country. And that's why I'm saying the PF would do the UPND can do far much better if they can focus on these serious issues that are affecting the people and stay away from these intra-party confusions within the PF, because the issue of hunger in our country is so extreme, and a lot of our people are dying because of failing to afford food. And when we talk about when you bring out that issue, I saw the president on one of on ZNBC at one of the shops. Is it ShopRite? Where he was trying to get so excited with the mini meal that was being distributed by. It was a stage managed kind of arrangement where you take so many bags of mini meal to ShopRite, one ShopRite, because the president was going to be there, and at the end of the day he buys all of it, because we are told he bought 100 and is it 100 plus bags of mini meal and distributed. Okay, but go back to these shops. Is there any shop that is stocking the cheap mini meal from ZNS? There's nothing in the shops. So already it is an embarrassment. It is a slap in the face of the president, where you go to commission something and then the following day it is not there. It practically tells you that UPND had failed to address the mid meal saga. They failed to address the hunger situation in the country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Msenge. Now, moving on to other issues. First of all, would you suggest that the UPND is doing as it assured the people when it comes to fostering national development? Are they living up to the expectation of the people, based on your assessment?
2 years down the line, or 2 years that UPND have been in government, we still have serious challenges. If we recall very well, during their campaign trail, they were always emphasizing on coming to reduce the cost of living, that is reducing the cost of mini meal, reducing the cost of fuel, reducing the cost of fertilizer. These were the 3 or 4 serious items that His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema emphasized on. But unfortunately, 2 years down the line, all these items we're talking about, they're becoming extremely expensive. And unfortunately, our colleagues in government have not taken a deliberate step to try and take time to go and see what is prevailing in the communities, especially in the compounds, to go and see how our people are living and how are surviving. This is a country that has been ravaged with HIV and AIDS, ravaged with COVID, and of course many families have been left with probably no breadwinners, and we have so many old women and men who do not have a source of income. The government, unfortunately, have just taken over what PF left. For example, they focused on social cash transfer. Now, when you go out there and find out how much is being given as social cash transfer to the old, you discover that probably it is about, is it 600 kwacha per month, if not 400. Now, if it is 600, how can an old woman manage to survive with 600 per month? And usually they are given, it is a one-off, maybe after 2 or 3 months, that's when they are getting another 600. So there is a lot of things that the government hasn't yet addressed. Yes, they talk about, when you bring up these issues, they'll be telling you, no, but we have employed about 30,000 teachers. We have employed about 11,000 health workers. That is not enough. Already the 30,000 teachers that were employed probably 2 years ago, they've already been erased by those who have already graduated from these teaching universities. We need a continuous process of creating employment and employing our people. As long as our people are not finding employment, it becomes a challenge. When you look at those 30,000, take time to go and see how, which provinces benefited so many of those people. Again, it becomes an issue. It becomes an issue. Look at the 11,000. Look at the names that are appearing there. It becomes an issue.
When you talk about employment, the ruling UPND have also said that, they have, tried to help citizens through the forming of cooperatives under the Constituency Development Fund, and now in the 2024 national budget, they have increased the Constituency Development Fund from 28.3 million, 3 million kwacha now to 30.6 million kwacha. So that is their argument. They are empowering citizens through cooperatives.
For me, I do not believe in that citizen, the CDF kind of arrangement.
Why, Mr.
It is a waste of money. It is a waste of money. And I can tell you that the bulk of that money is being siphoned through activities that are not even beneficial to the state. You give 30 million kwacha to a constituency controlled by a local authority. You know very well what usually happens. Those people start sitting and coming up with certain projects that are not even beneficial. For example, they were talking about the fabrication or manufacture of desks. Certain schools have actually acquired so many desks. There are more desks than the pupils in the school, because people just want to get the money. When you look at the amount of money that is divided across the 156 constituencies, 30 million kwacha, put together, a very good road can be done from here to Kaputa or to Puta. A road can be done. But with this kind of arrangement, the government will always be in distress when it comes to working on projects. That's why, if you have noticed, they are not constructing clinics, they are not constructing hospitals, they are not constructing schools. And when you divide that money into constituencies, and then you say, oh, these projects are supposed to be done by constituencies, how are they going to construct a school? The population is growing. We need more schools.
But we've been hearing the famous 1x3 classrooms.
Yes, the 1x3 classrooms on existing schools. But you need new schools which are supposed to be gazetted in new areas. Population has expanded. You cannot continue putting up 1x3 classrooms in the same locality. Education is supposed to be brought closer to the people. Okay? Just like healthcare is supposed to be brought closer to the people. With this arrangement, the government will have challenges to identify new places where they can construct hospitals and clinics. And usually when you are constructing a hospital, there are a lot of factors that you need to look at. You have to look at human resource that has to come in at a given time. A lot of things has to be done. So you cannot leave it to CDF. Now, you ask yourself, with what is prevailing, what are the ministries doing? Because they've taken all functions to the constituency development. Police vehicles, CDF, can you in your budget this year? Mubike mo, motoka imo. Ambulances, can you do the same? You can't work like that. The Ministry of Health, they've got their own mandate to make sure that they are taking healthcare closer to the people. Therefore, they have to identify areas where they feel, okay, there is a distance, people have increased here, we need to construct another clinic there, we need to take another school there. That is what's supposed to be done by the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Infrastructure are supposed to identify projects that they're supposed to work on, especially the road network in this country. We are not going to continue on the PPP kind of arrangement. Because when you look at the PPP kind of arrangement, those who get interested to get into that arrangement, they'll only be looking at roads that are sustainable in that program. Roads where they know they can make money, recover their money in probably 10, 15 or 25 years, as we have read on a number of roads that have been concessioned. So that again leaves a lot of the road network unattended to. The only road network that was done by the PFO was in Lusaka, where most of the township roads were done. Go to the Copper Belt. All township roads are in a deplorable state. Go to Central Province, it is the same. Our colleagues have to quickly come up with a formula to address the huge challenges that are affecting our people in society. They only have less than 2 years now to really see how they can quickly get the support of the people. Otherwise, as the situation stands, Kumia Fecha Chinema UPND, you have lost support. On the Copper Belt, I don't know Lusaka, but on the Copper Belt, in Ilwapula, Northern, Nimuchinga, Eastern, all these other provinces, I think they've distanced themselves from Abanenso, unless they are able to do an abracadabra.
What would you recommend the UPND focuses on in the short term to long term? Because we've seen that quite implementing the IMF program has also come with its own challenges. For example, we still continue to talk about issues pertaining to increasing electricity tariffs, but we understand that these tariffs have always have had a negative effect on the citizens, and also undermine Zambia's potential to electrify rural areas. And also talking about the issue of fuel, every month fuel is being revised or looked at, and this has continued to push prices of commodities upwards. As an opposition leader, what policies would you recommend the government takes into account to make sure that things can be appreciated by especially the majority poor citizens?
Unfortunately, our president, Mr. Kainde Hichilema, has taken our country towards total capitalism. That is what we are seeing, trying to make it a full capitalist country, and that cannot work in Zambia. It is injurious to our majority of our people, because there are very, very few people that can afford to live in such an environment. What we need is a mixed kind of ism within ourselves. Okay, majority of our people do not have a source of income, and the first step that the UPND need to do is to try and find a way of how they can assist the most vulnerable in society. We do not have the industries in Zambia. Those were destroyed by the MMT. And the only employers is the civil service. And the civil service also is limited. There are very few companies that can be able to create employment for people. And when you are saying, no, go back to the land, again, the peasant farmers that have been trying to support government in producing maize, food, you have again denied them the fertilizer and seed. You are giving them very little, and some are failing to afford. Last farming season, people were sharing the fertilizer Mutuma Medas. Even this season, already people have started sharing Mutuma Medas. So production here, maize, bumper harvest that you would want to talk about will not be there. So the government should quickly, first and foremost, find ways and means of how they can make sure that people can have food on the table. Once abantu bakwate chakula pa table, they will really calm down. They will calm down, and it will give them time to think on what they can do next. But otherwise, as long as people continue wallowing in poverty, in abject poverty, there will be so much pressure on this government. And to try and implement, if you are capitalism or capitalist kind of system in this country, will just injure more. We'll see the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer And that is what we do not want to see in our country. Can we find a working formula? My humble advice, Kubanensu, let them not be so arrogant because they're in government. The new Dawn term they are using, MMD also used it. They were calling themselves the new Dawn by MMD. And this is what they are using as well. So it clearly tells you that they've run out of ideas. They've run out of ideas. They are becoming copycats of what others were doing. Even when the new Dawn did not work in MMD, they want to try and see whether it can work under UPND. So what is important is, let us engage each other. But HH should find time to invite opposition political parties. But HH should find time to call those who are elder statesmen within our country. They are still there. Let's call these people, have an indaba, and try to find a common ground. I think that's what we need. It's not fighting one another. It's not about destroying other political parties and what have you. But can we quickly become as one, sit together to find a lasting solution to the perpetual hunger that we've been having in our country? And mind you, Masok, I can tell you, Zambia is not even among the top 10 highest maize producing countries in Africa. Yeah. On that list, the highest producer of maize is South Africa. And I think on number 8 or 9 you have Malawi. But where is Zambia? In the world, the highest producer of maize is America. And when you look at the top 10 highest producers of maize in the world, maize, I'm talking about maize, at number 10 you have South Africa. You have America, Argentina, Mexico, Russia, this other country they're fighting with, Ukraine. Those are the major countries that are producing maize. Now, this country is totally dependent on maize as a staple food. And we are not even among the top 10 African countries that produce maize. How are you going to feed your people? And the little that you produce, the same people in government are the ones who are in the forefront to is it export it, sell it to our neighbors, and then they fall prey on to mass smugglers to send a bag come on and to be that and yet you the culprits are in government.
We have a comment from one of our Facebook viewers who says it is too difficult to expect development in a country where political instability is prominent. It is a disturbance to investors wanting to invest in Zambia. Maybe you can just add your comment to that as we come to the conclusion of our program.
It is very true. It is very true. If you recall, when we began, I stated that we have turned ourselves into a state of comedians. We are so engulfed into petty politics of fighting one another when there are serious issues affecting our country. And because of that, it is true, it is extremely difficult for investors to come and invest in such an environment. As you know, our governments here in Zambia, once there's a new party in government, the first thing that they will do is to try and destabilize all those investors who are working with the previous administration. And you start creating your own. As long as we do not create an enabling environment where investors can feel safe, even when there's change of government, we'll have difficulties as a nation to develop economically.
Lastly, as you wind up, you are someone who has been talking to issues pertaining to the mining sector. First of all, how do you think this administration is handling the mining sector? Are you happy with the current mining policies as well as the approach to investment in our mines?
2 years down the line by UPND, they've not done anything tangible in the mining sector. There's nothing to show. I stay on the copper belt. The mining industry is in a deplorable state. You go to in Kitwe, where we have Mopani, you go to Mfulila, you go to Chingola, you go to Chilinabombwe. There is very little that is happening in the industry. We've grown up on the copper belt. It was very easy to see how active these mining activities were and how you'd see so many people going for work. But today you can rarely see if anybody has gone for work or not. And we had expected that with that vast economic knowledge the president has and his connection, we had anticipated that we are going to receive a lot of input into the mining sector. At one time, the mining sector was the backbone of this nation, economically, but it is no longer there. And the major problem is that the bulk of the copper that is being produced, not on the copper belt, on the copper belt, but from northwestern province. The bulk of it that is being produced just passes through and goes outside the country. The beneficiaries of whatever is being produced is outside Zambia. We need to correct that and see how we can, as a country, benefit more as the owners of the minerals that are being exploited in Zambia. And my humble advice to the UPND, the President is to find ways and means of opening up mines in northwestern province. On the copper belt, I think we have serious challenges, but let us identify new greenfields in northwestern province. We have developed, we have trained so many mining engineers from our universities who are just roaming the streets, and some of them are helping these investors. When you go to Kansan, Shirumwana, and what have you, we can open up mines run by us, indigenous Zambians, to start a mine and run it. Because then, whatever we're going to realize from there will be us, will be Zambia, will be for our country, Zambia. But as long as you leave it to foreigners to come and invest, and that wale misuni na kufyo tuwatu na tutuma royalties na tuwatu, by the time we come to realize, we would have lost a lot. If you look at the emerald sector on the copper belt in Fanyama, in Pongwe, who has benefited? Those are semi-precious stones which do not even need processing. You start selling and millions of dollars are coming in. We have failed as a country to manage that. We had anticipated that a change of government in governance that, okay, this area, we are protecting it, and we want the government to see how we can start also producing from there. The biggest challenge we have as Zambians, it is ourselves. We do not show that patriotism. Whoever goes into these offices, they want to look at self. You end up making decisions which are not right. So there is still a lot of work that government has to do. But UPND have to quickly sit down, carry an introspection as a party in government, and quickly come up with a system that is workable. Abantu bachira mokuchula, and church should not. I've always said should not sit in a comfort zone. Sorry, but to quickly get on the ground. Kabie, these state-managed crowds, take time on your own to get on the ground and listen to that voice. of the poor people that are suffering in the community.
Thank you so much. That has been the President for Advocate for People's Prosperity, Mr. Mwenye Msenge, who was helping us discuss various national affairs issues that are happening in our country. But right about now, this is what we have to say, or rather, use the term Patrick always uses. We have to excuse the screen. This has been Miriam Kaimba and Patrick Soko, but please do make a date with us tomorrow as we bring you another interesting topic. For now, it's bye-bye and stay blessed.